Okay. Perfect.
We should be, just a second here, it's still setting up the meeting on YouTube. And we are now live.
All right, wonderful. All right. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight for the special board meeting here for the School District of Belleville. Marion, if you can, please start with a roll call.
Trevor Johan.
Here.
Ryan Kugli.
Here.
Jill Ramey.
Here.
Barb Peterson. Kevin Spiegel.
Here.
Mike Treader.
Here.
Marion Binney. Here. 6 present. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Ahead of time.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. All right. And then if I could get a motion for agenda approval.
I'll make that
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay,
Second.
got a first by Jill, a second by Marion. All right, and then being that this is a Zoom, Marion, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Trevor.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Jill.
Yes.
Barb. Kevin.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Marion. Yes. So
All right.
7 or 6 in favor.
Okay, perfect. All right, just wanted to thank the board for coming together tonight for this quick special board meeting to approve the BEA contracts. So most of you have been privy to the information already, so hopefully we can go through this pretty quick and get everybody back to their evening. So Nate, if you want to just give us a quick high level real quick, and then we'll just keep on moving through the motions tonight.
Absolutely. So for the first discussion, possible action item A, the tentative agreement with BEA is there. Hold on just a minute. I want to make sure that you have the right document here. You do not, but I will make sure that I upload that right now and make that change. Sorry, I thought I had the right one here. So you can view it as we discuss a little bit later here. I apologize for the delay. Hold on 1 minute here. I checked all this too. Okay, if you refresh, you will see the proper document here. I want to just make sure I've got the right one now. I still don't believe I have the right one. Sorry, we had different versions of this, so I need one that says 1217 that has all the correct language in it. Again, I apologize for the delay.
Ryan?
All right, one more time. Now, if you refresh, you should see the proper document.
Okay. And we're refreshing in board docs, correct?
Correct. Yep. Okay. So that's the correct one. So I can take you through this now, and you're going to see the entire document here in the first discussion possible action, and the first motion though is to approve the consumer price index or CPI increase of 1.81%. And that's on the total base wage. And then that's going to be for a total increase of just under 60,000, so $59,445.69. And then when we get into discussion item B, you'll see how the supplemental pay is then broken out. Supplemental pay was negotiated through meet and confer with the BEA and their representatives. Sorry, while I was doing that, I think we lost Ryan and he'll be admitted here now.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions or discussion on following the CPI of 1.81% and then increasing the base wage at that dollar amount?
The committee members were comfortable with this?
Yeah, I mean, it's following the CPI. It did go, I think, Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we did end up landing at like 1.83%, just because it was hard to get to that cent percent.
No, that was for best. This is still.
Oh, that was for best. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we're at 1.81. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we did land at 1.81. We do expect that the CPI to track about 0.5% lower going into next year, and that's kind of what Bob Butler's already projecting.
No one else has any questions. I'll make a motion. I make a motion to approve the 2020-2021 collective bargaining agreement with the Belleville Education Association. The collective bargaining agreement shall provide for a total base wage increase of 1.81% for the 2020-2021 contract year. The total base wage increases equal the sum total of $59,445.69. It says dollars, but cents, to the bargaining unit staff of the school district of Belleville.
I'll second that motion. Marion, if you can you do a roll call vote, please?
Trevor,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Marion, yes. 6 in favor.
Perfect. All right, then we will move on to discussion B point. Nate, do you want to take that?
Each one, if you want to go motion by motion, or I could give an overview of all of them and then go through all the motions, whichever you'd prefer.
Could you go one by one?
Yeah, I think that'd be easier.
Okay. So the first item that's there for possible action is in addition to the 1.81% that the board just approved, there would be an additional $185 per employee which is spread out amongst employees equally. I did have a question or two on that. That would be about $1,000 increase for each teacher. Again, whether they're at the top or bottom of the pay scale, they would get that. So that's supplemental pay in which is again in meet and confer. We do that outside of the 1.81%. So that's the first motion that you see there. That only goes to teachers who are not on a plan of improvement. And I made a note there for the board if you have any questions.
Say, Nate, I actually have a quick question. I hope.
Okay.
When I read through the motion, I see the word bargaining unit staff members. That to me implies it might be only the staff members that are part of the union. So I just want to make sure that it's for everybody, not just.
It is, yes. It wouldn't be only BEA members who are receiving this. We do that for all of our teaching staff, I should say, not our teaching staff, our professional staff. Bob Butler does help craft this so that what we have here will match the tentative agreement.
Yeah. Okay. I was just kind of fumbling a little bit with the bargaining unit staff members, but I get it. Thank you.
I understand too, but I am kind of wondering about the middle of the motion. It says a bargaining unit staff member who is on a plan of improvement is ineligible, ... I guess, again, far be it from me to second guess Bob Butler, but I'm wondering if we had had a member that wasn't actually in the bargaining unit that was on a plan of improvement, what would that mean? I mean, I guess, do we have any staff members who are not part of the bargaining unit that are not going to be represented here, I guess is the way to word it. And if the case is that that's not the case, then we're good to go, I think.
Good question. And we do not have that situation.
Okay.
So no, that is not a situation that we have. I will ask Bob. We've been communicating fairly frequently recently on this, but I can ask him about the specific wording there that he wanted in to make sure that it matched with the tentative agreement. But no, that's not the case, Joe. We don't have somebody outside of that's on a plan of improvement.
Okay, I'm fine with it then, but I think it maybe is a good idea just to ask for the future, just
Great.
so that we know.
Wouldn't that
Thank you.
be reworded to, I'm going to jump into the middle of it, ineligible for the above supplemental pay, not base wage pay? Because we're talking a supplemental pay, not base wage pay, correct? Am I misunderstanding how that should read?
No, I think we should make that change in the motion, Kevin, if the rest of you can take a look at that.
So I'm reading this as a bargaining unit staff member who is on a improvement plan is ineligible for the above base wage payment except as noted below. So yeah, I would say that would be just, it should be reworded to supplemental wage payment.
Then that next sentence would have to be changed as well. It talks about, I think, base wage there too.
Now, what
Yeah.
the in the handbook, however, they get anybody that's on a plan of improvement does not get the 1.81% either. So I believe that's why he has that as it is.
Okay, so it's kind of tied in.
Yes.
Because they wouldn't get either of them.
Correct.
Either of the increases. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And we do have that in the handbook that way.
Okay.
Okay. So would we only change the first sentence of that then? That's in question? Or are we leaving it as base wage payment?
So the first sentence that you see there is the supplemental pay. So that's the 185. I think as you read further, really what that's explaining is anybody on a plan of improvement is not receiving either of these increases this year, whether it's the 1.81% or the, I take that back, would not receive the, now that you say that, that is a good question.
They're two different things.
Mhm.
Possible to message Bob?
Yeah, we certainly could. Yeah.
Can we just say that for the above supplemental pay and base wage payment, except as noted below?
Yeah. Give me just a minute here. I want to.
Jill, back to your original question, looking through the administrative content, there is one staff member on an improvement plan.
Right. And I just was wondering if that person is represented in the sentence, whether that person would be represented or not, but it sounds like that's not an issue for that particular person anyway.
I'm looking over the employee handbook to try to answer your questions about if we need to change the wording to that as it's stated. Now, if you want to, if we want to go to motion 2, which might be a little bit more self-explanatory, I could try to raise Bob and see if he could answer that for us.
That's a good idea, so we can keep moving.
Yeah.
Clarify.
No luck on Bob unless Kelly, you've got a cell phone for him that I don't have.
Do you have any cell phone number?
I do not.
Okay.
I only have one phone number for him. Should we move to motion?
Yeah, let's move on to motion 2 and see if, give them a few minutes, we can circle back around.
Yeah. So the second motion is on master's degrees. And this is something that the committee did talk fairly extensively about. In the employee handbook, this has been kind of frozen since 2016, any recognition of this. That was about the same time that the credits, that the reimbursement credits were taking place. And so we wanted to make sure that we do recognize our teachers with master's degrees in the fact that if you're looking at a competitive situation with other districts around us, I'm not aware of any district around us that is not recognizing master's degrees at this point. So to get everyone caught up who has gotten a master's degree up until this point, you see the motion before you, and in the board's notes, you can see those employees there, and then the total that they would be receiving.
Nate, is the district still paying for their credits as they're going through the master's program, or is it totally on the individual?
No, not up until this point. Nope. Remember, it had been back before 2016, it had been about $75 per credit, and that has not been happening
Okay.
Since then?
And I have a question about the situation where you have a new hire that has a master's degree.
Correct.
So let me ask you this. So they were hired with that degree, and then they're receiving the supplemental pay because they have this degree. So am I correct to assume that they won't receive a higher wage to start because they have a master's degree, and they won't really get anything until once a year when we do the supplemental pay? Or how is this going to work for
No, what
in that
happens, Jill,
situation?
yeah, we hire them at their with their master's degree. So we do recognize that when we first hire them.
Mhm.
But so like somebody that was hired, for example, not you see a couple of names on those. Those were ones that were hired and got their master's a little bit later on in that process. So
Okay.
that would be one. Usually, like if we have somebody come in that we are hiring, we will recognize that master's at that time. So that can be recognized again at this point.
Okay,
Does that make
so someone that doesn't have a master's degree when they're first hired is obviously not being hired at that higher rate, but they are going to receive supplemental pay one time. They'll be able to receive that. Like in this case we've got 3 people. 2 of
Yeah.
them earned the degree after they were hired. 1 of them did not. But is it correct to assume that the 2 that earned it after they were hired, that they were hired at lesser than what they would have received had they had a master's degree when they were first hired? So I guess what I'm getting at is it looks like the 3rd person was hired at a higher rate of pay because she had a master's degree, correct? When she was first hired.
No, none of them were hired at a higher rate.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. I was overthinking this. Okay, thank you. Never mind.
No problem.
Right. Is there any other discussion on motion 2?
And this is an annual supplemental pay, correct?
Right. Yes, correct. This does not
Not a
not
one-time.
go away. This is not a one-time.
That's a good question. So I guess, what Kevin asked. So does this mean, but they're building on that base of that additional amount, right? Is that what you mean? Because we have more than just 3 people in our district that have earned master's degrees over time.
Correct.
So we're only
That's
going to
already been
see,
acknowledged by the district.
okay, all right. So we're recognizing them, but do they all get extra pay? I guess is what I'm getting at. Will they all get
Been
extra
all
pay?
along, Jill.
I'm sorry?
They have been all along.
Okay, but they won't be getting the supplemental, like X amount that they will be this time? I mean, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is how many do we have that have master's degrees in our district? And is it true to say if we have 10 of them, that we would be paying 10 plus the 3 that are listed here and being recognized tonight? Is
So
that- or
yeah,
not?
so for example, somebody that had received it in 2015, that's not a one-time stipend. It is supplemental pay that does not go away. Is that what you're asking?
I think so. I guess what I'm trying to get at is according to what I'm seeing in the motion, the total amount would be $9,000. Right?
For these that have not been recognized, correct?
So then what happens for the ones that have already achieved a master's that have previously been recognized? Are they caught up in, are they paid elsewhere with the supplemental income then? Or what? Or is that included in, I'm trying to figure out if, is this a every year thing? And I'm sorry, I'm not explaining myself very well. And I also apologize, my webcam isn't working, so
That's
you can't even see me.
I think to answer your question, it is not, it is an every year thing.
It is.
It does not go away. That's the difference between what's supplemental, which stays, and then a stipend, which is one time.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
So then I think to piggyback a little bit more off of what Jill was saying then is, are we saying then that the staff that have acquired their masters prior to this program being put on hold in 2016 are going to be paid out at the same rate now at $3,000 per, or are they on a different pay schedule?
The staff, yeah, let me see if I can make this clear. The employees that you see here, so this $9,000 is to recognize anybody that we haven't already recognized for a master's degree. Anybody that has had their master's degree, the district has already recognized them and continues to recognize them for their master's degree.
Okay. On a different pay schedule?
It's in supplemental pay.
Right. But I guess what I'm getting at is it the same pay now as what we're recognizing these three at, or are they on a separate pay schedule that paid at a different rate?
You mean, did we pay something different in the past?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an answer for you for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nate, isn't the $3,000, that's what's been agreed upon starting now, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then for each of these people that are being recognized, then going forward, when we have supplemental pay, is it based on, does this $3,000 go toward their base wage?
No.
Like, is it added onto their salary?
Yes.
It is. Okay. So then going forward, if there is an increase and it's like, 1.81% or something like that, it would be based off of that higher salary that they would receive in supplemental pay? No, because it's across the board, right? The same. Okay. Yeah, I'm struggling with this, but I'm going to assume you guys know what you're doing. I'm having a hard time understanding. I guess, how much money are we spending in supplemental pay for people who have a master's degree is what I guess I'm trying to understand. I understand right now we're looking at $9,000 for these three people. And I apologize that this didn't click prior to this meeting, or I would have talked to you, Nate, about it. So, I mean, let's say we have 10 people that have a master's degree in our district. Okay, so the reason why we're seeing these three here is because they're newly acquired, newly earned, achieved master's degrees. That makes sense to me. But what about the other 7 out of the 10 that have already earned it? They're not getting $3,000, correct?
They already did.
Okay, because it's a one-time thing.
No, it stays on in their supplemental pay.
Okay.
I
guess the thing that I need to know is every year we're going to recognize people who have newly earned master's degrees. That's the plan going forward, right. Correct? And I see Mike nodding. So, okay, I think I get it then. All right, thank you.
Yep.
So then right now, then we've got 10 that are going to be recognized. So then we're looking at 30,000 every year reoccurring expense for this.
In my example.
Yes.
I don't know if there are 10.
Okay. Correct. Now I'm on the same page too. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And we obviously have this money in the budget.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's a given, but I thought I better just say that. Okay,
It moves forward.
okay, perfect.
Nate, can we assume that the people the staff that have already been recognized, were they recognized at the rate of $3,000 or were they possibly recognized at a different rate? I don't remember anymore.
They could have been recognized at a different rate, but there's no catch up at that point then.
Back when we had the salary schedule, and I don't know if any of you saw it, but there was lanes.
Right.
They moved across it. And when they earned their masters, they like moved across it even farther. I highly doubt that it equated to exactly $3,000, but they did move across the salary schedule when they obtained their masters. Everybody, as they attained credits, moved. And then if they obtained masters and credits, they moved even farther over.
Okay.
So I guess we're talking about something that didn't occur to me during our previous discussions though either, and which is, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but let's say a person has already been recognized and it equates to the lane movement, the whatever it is, comes out to be $2,800 roughly, let's say. Moving forward, they will be getting $3,000 per year as a recognition for the masters. Or if that's not the case, then they'll stay at the same $2,800 rate. I'm assuming moving forward, everybody with the masters will get a supplemental bump of $3,000.
Correct.
Is it possible that somebody's been recognized at a higher rate than 3,000 and they would actually get less money?
So I'll give you an example. So this is on the old salary schedule, like 2015, 16. If you were to go from your bachelor's, so just your BEA with no credits, at that point, that was $36,504. When you received your master's, you went up to $40,155. So about $4,000. However, there had been steps along the way to get there. For example, 6 credits after your bachelor's, 12 credits after your bachelor's, 18 credits after your bachelor's. But the entire jump from, this would be a first-year teacher, from your bachelor's to your master's, the value of that was just under $4,000 in 2015-16.
So in the year 2021, it'll be $3,000.
Correct.
That same person that got a bump of roughly $4,000 in 2015 is now going to see it drop to $3,000 per year.
Well, that is a loaded question, because usually on the old salary schedule, if you got you'd have to get your master's in 1 year in order to do that. It's because typically what you would do, you also move down the salary schedule and over on the salary schedule. So you got a year of experience and then you got your credits. Okay. What we're doing now is we're not giving any credits in between the bachelor's and the master's. It's just a recognition of that $3,000 once they've received their master's. So to give you an idea, Kevin, if somebody came in 2015-16 and we're making 36.5, and then they had their master's already the next year, so they were not recognized for any credits in between time, they would move down a step and then over to master's. So that would actually be from 36.5 to 41, about 41.7, because you'd move down and over. We're not on that schedule right now.
All right. So I guess that kind of brings me back then, just this has probably already been stated, but I guess this is a piece that I'm kind of missing, and maybe this is what Kevin's trying to get at too. Then anybody that is on that old pay schedule, would they stay on that pay schedule, or would they be updated to this new pay schedule of 3,000 per year?
No, so they've already been recognized. We're not adding another $3,000 to anybody that's already gotten their master's degree. They've
Right.
already
No.
been recognized.
We're not reducing.
Right, they're recognized on an annual basis, right? So we're saying that every year, each teacher that obtains their master gets an additional $3,000 a year,
Correct.
right? Okay, so then in that pay schedule, that old pay schedule, so circa 2015 before,
Yep.
they're already getting that built into their base wage. So they're not going to get the additional 3,000 now because it's already built into their base wage.
Yes, they had already received it previously and it did not go away.
Okay. All right. So I think that was a piece that was missing here, was that they're because it's already baked into their base wage. They got those bumps as they got their credits, they moved across. That was all part of base wage pay increases. They're not going to get an additional. So if they're at 41,000, for example, because they have their master's circa 2015, they're not going to get 44,000 with that supplemental bump now.
No, because that's already happened.
Right. Okay. Okay. Sorry,
That's a good
that took a
question.
little longer.
Yeah, thanks for asking that question because that makes sense to me now. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Okay, so with that, is there any more discussion on motion 2?
Oh, shucks.
Okay, then to move us along, then I'll make a motion to approve the district providing additional supplemental pay in the total amount of $9,000, which will be distributed to the bargain unit members as an increase to the individual's wage of $3,000 per individual full-time equivalent bargaining unit member who acquires a master's degree pursuant to the terms of the employee handbook. This amount shall be prorated for the part-time employees based upon the individual bargaining unit member's percentage of a full-time equivalency. This wage payment will be part of the bargaining unit member's individual contract salary. The above total wage payment adjustable is only available to bargaining unit staff members who have acquired a master's degree in the 2020-2021 contract year.
Can I ask, is it still up for discussion?
Yep.
Okay. This is only a supplemental pay. That's how I understand it. So next year, when there's going to be, call it a 2% CPI, they're not getting 2% added to that $3,000. This doesn't become part of their base pay. It's always going to remain supplemental.
Correct.
That's how I understand it. Just want to make sure I'm clear on it. I'll second that motion.
All right, the first by Trevor, a second by Kevin. Then Marion, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Trevor,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes,
Kevin,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Marion, yes, 6-0 in favor.
If we do want to circle back to motion 1,
Okay.
Nate, I don't mean to interrupt here. I do not have a cell phone for Bob. I had his direct line and I tried that
That's
and
what-
got voicemail.
if you look back at motion 1, that is what you've already approved in the tentative agreement. So it matches the tentative agreement and what BEA has ratified. So the language that you see there matches exactly what is in the tentative agreement.
okay.
All right, then I guess that kind of covers everything. Does anybody else have any other discussions, or would anybody support the motion?
Are you talking about motion 1?
Yes, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the district also providing additional supplemental pay in the amount of $13,492 which will be distributed to bargaining unit members as an increase in the individual's wage of $185 per individual full-time equivalent bargaining unit member. This amount shall be prorated for part-time employees based upon the individual bargaining unit member's percentage of full-time equivalency. This wage payment will be part of the bargaining unit member's individual contract salary. The above total wage pay adjustment is only available to bargaining unit staff members who have met the district's performance expectations. A bargaining unit staff member who is in a plan of improvement is ineligible for the above base wage payment except as noted below. If the employee successfully completes the plan during the school year, the employee will receive a prorated portion of the base wage increase. For example, if the employee comes off the plan or improvement halfway through the school year, the employee will receive 50% of the maximum supplemental wage increase, i.e. $92.50.
I'll second it.
Okay, a first by Kevin and a second by Jill. Marion, if you would please, again, or roll call vote.
Trevor,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Marion, yes. 6 in favor.
The third
All
motion,
right,
yeah,
very good. Then we'll jump down now to motion 3.
so the third motion that you see there is for those teachers who had not been recognized for receiving their lifetime license. If you recall, as part of our first 3 years, teachers in their first 3 years do receive $1,000 increase after year 1, and then after year 2, and then when they receive their lifetime license, this is a $2,000 increase on that. Some teachers, it does take longer, depending on when they've come into our district, if they've come in from out of state. And so it does serve to create a little bit of a gap between your brand new teachers in their first 3 years and then those that have received their lifetime license.
Nate, Meredith Smith has received her National Board of Certification years ago. And so I guess I'm kind of wondering why she wasn't recognized at that point.
That's on, I think, the next motion, Marion, but I can answer that though. That was just not something that the district was paying for at that time. I would say probably post Act 10, you've seen many more districts recognizing national board certifications, and that's gaining in momentum because most school districts were on your typical salary schedule, just like we talked about a few minutes ago with your lane and step movement, your experience, and then your education.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and it's fair to assume that the same schedule is applicable as it was for the masters. Then anybody that's received their recognition for their lifetime license previous circa 2015 would stay on that schedule.
This is actually a new one because we did not have, there were lifetime licenses, but you'd have to go back to those that had their licenses back in the 70s. This is just within the first few years that they have gone to the lifetime licenses. So this is new, but anybody since that time, since they created the new lifetime license, has been recognized when they've gotten to that point.
Okay. Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Sure.
Any other discussion on motion 3?
I make a motion to approve the district providing additional supplemental pay in the total amount of $4,000, which will be distributed to bargaining unit members as an increase in the individual's wage of $2,000 per individual full-time equivalent bargaining unit member who acquires a lifetime license pursuant to the terms of the employee handbook. This amount shall be prorated for part-time employees based upon the individual bargaining unit members' percentage of full-time equivalency. This wage payment will be part of the bargaining unit member's individual contract salary. The above total wage pay adjustment is only available to bargaining unit staff members who have acquired a lifetime license in the 2020 to 2021 contract year. Hopefully I
I'll
said that.
second.
Was the second?
Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, was that a first by Mike and then a second by Ryan? Okay, all right, sorry, I'm gonna turn my camera off for a little bit. I'm losing some bandwidth here. So, all right, Marion, if you could please then a roll call vote.
Trevor,
Yes?
Ryan,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Marion. Yes, 6 in favor.
All right, great, motion passes. All right, on to motion number 4 in regards to national board certifications.
So we have, to Marion's point, we had not up until this point, there was one staff member that had been recognized with, I believe, lane or step movement in the past. But the others that you see that we will recognize tonight have not been. Most of these are recent. The other thing that the committee talked about in its first meet and confer session with BEA is if we're offering this, it has to be something that's available to all professional staff. The national board certification is not available to all professional staff, depending on what their licensure is in. And so we are looking for equivalent licensures at a national certification level for your specialist. That might be a speech and language pathologist. It might be a library media specialist. It could be a school psychologist. Those would fit into a category that not always are recognized by national board certification. This, again, as we just mentioned, is gaining steam. Compared to a master's degree, it is certainly more individualized. It's very self-reflective. You're really working on your own teaching practice and reflecting on how you get better. And then, of course, there is a process that they go along where there are checks along the way.
Any discussion on this motion? Not sure if I lost everybody, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the district providing additional supplemental pay in the total amount of $12,000, which will be distributed to bargaining unit members as an increase in the individual's wage of $3,000 per individual full-time equivalent bargaining unit member who acquires national board certification or master's educator license pursuant to the terms of the employee handbook. This amount shall be prorated for part-time employees based upon the individual bargaining unit members' percentage of full-time equivalency. This wage payment will be part of the bargaining unit member's individual contract salary. The above total wage pay adjustment is only available to bargaining unit staff members who have acquired national board certification or master's educator license in the 2020-2021 contract year.
I'll second.
All right, a first by Jill, a second by Ryan. Marion, a roll call vote, please.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
So the last sentence says that it's only available to people who have gotten this in the 2021 school year or 2020, 2021. But those first two didn't get that this year. They got it last year or the year before, whenever what happened. So
It's true.
is that correct? Or does that need to be revised or something?
I think we can revise that just to take out the in the 2021 contract year.
Okay. I'll make that change to my motion.
Yeah, that's a good point, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
There was
Okay, so
another motion that said specifically 2020-21 for the master's degree, and it said Kim Carter was unrecognized. So I'm assuming that was from a previous year too.
I think, Nate, the reason Bob's got these in here is because this is the contract year we're recognizing all of this.
I believe you are right, because he was aware that some of these were past, had been received in the past, and that we were recognizing them in this contract year.
and that we would probably go through this process every year going forward as long as we were recognizing it through the negotiation process.
Yes,
And you feel, Nate, that everybody has been caught up now, right?
right. We had been working diligently to make sure that after tonight, we have got everybody that we are aware of up to speed. Yes.
Okay, so we won't run into this again.
No, it would be brand new ones that we would
Okay.
have from here on out.
Okay. So are we okay keeping that original motion? If so, then,
Yeah, I agree with Kelly.
Yeah,
I think the
thanks.
reason he's got that is because it is this contract year.
okay,
All right, so then we had a first by Jill, and I'm sorry, who was the second?
it was Ryan.
Okay, second by Ryan. Okay, Marion, a roll call vote again.
Trevor,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes,
Kevin,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes,
Marion, yes. 6 in favor.
All right, perfect. Okay, last motion of the evening then will be in regards to the sick leave bank creation.
There are quite a few details in that sick bank. This was something that we had discussed, like a district plan, and then we had a proposal from BEA that we tried to incorporate some elements of that into it. The basic element of this is that those members that want to, it doesn't have to be a BEA member, however, these could be support staff or teaching staff, non-union, union members. They contribute to the bank. They can contribute 2 days to start. This bank would be capped at 200 days. We would do a call for days if it's under 200 days at the beginning of each school year, and then if it ever went below 45 days, we could do another call for days in the middle of the school year. This is something that is a what I would call like a safety net, because this to be able to access this, there has to be some kind of catastrophic event. So, for example, a major car accident, a major accident, could be a cancer diagnosis or some kind of medical diagnosis where you're perhaps in the hospital or not able to work for an extended period of time. In addition to that, you would have to expend all of your own days in order to access this. You could access 45 days in a school year, and then 90 days total in your time as a employee in Belleville. I'm only thinking of probably about 2 times since I've been here where we might have somebody, there may be more that I'm not thinking of, but that we would have a situation like this. But in those cases, it is, I think, a comfort to all of our employees to know that this is there and something that they could access. You only are eligible if you've donated to the bank, and I don't know if there's anything else I would add to that. So this would be added to what you see there attached, would be added to the district employee handbook.
Nate, can you verify though, this would be for any employee, whether they're support staff or, so I'm wondering about it being in the BEA contract. Should it be in Best as well or no?
remember, this is going to go into the employee handbook. So if you approve it tonight, this is really a handbook addition. And that would go for both support staff and professional staff.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with the agreement. It just came up during the negotiations. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
And just as a reminder, because I don't know if Marion, Ryan, Jill, or Barb would know this, but the same representative from WEAC helps to negotiate for both BEST and BEA. And so this is something that we looked at as a district-wide for our employees, not just for teaching or professional staff.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Struggling with the wording of the motion. After the words district employees will be implemented, if you read everything, are we missing a word there? Like that will be implemented or to be implemented?
I think you could add that right before will. That's a good point, Kevin.
Okay. Well, barring any further discussion, I'll make a motion to approve a sick leave bank for district employees that will be implemented in the district's employee handbook.
I'll second that.
All right, I got a first by Kevin and a second by Mike. Then, Marion, a roll call vote, please.
Trevor,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Yes.
Jill,
Yes,
Kevin,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Marion. Yes, 6 in favor.
And I will
All right.
follow up with, I'll follow up with Bob. I think we've got 3 basic questions for him, just so that we are all clear, and then I can get back to the board on that.
Okay.
Hey, Mr.
Perfect.
Perry, there are 2 spelling mistakes in the tentative agreement that are highlighted, just so that we follow up on those.
Okay. Can you point those out before we go, Mike?
They are duration of, and the table of contents is combined into a single word, and then there's negotiations spelled incorrectly at some point.
Yeah, and so part of this is, you'll notice that that there are strike throughs in this as well, Mike. So before we sign this, Kelly will have a clean copy of that we will have before it's signed. The duration of, and what was the second one, Mike?
Negotiations is spelled incorrectly on page appendix 1A, compensation, whatever page that is, 6.
Okay,
It's in the middle.
gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Well, that is, I believe, all we have for this evening. There's nothing else on the agenda. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, a first by Kevin, a second by Ryan. Roll call vote, if you would, Marion. And thank you all for joining this evening.
Trevor,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Jill,
yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Marion. Yes, 6 in favor.
All right, perfect. We're adjourned. Again, thank you guys. We look forward to seeing you guys Monday night, hopefully for the last time for the holidays, and then we're off for the holidays.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for putting up with the copious amounts of meetings.